First of all, to anyone reading this, keep a flashlight in your car, okay? You never know what may happen. Last night, I was just laying around on my bed. I was listening to music, trying to study as much as possible, and trying to stay awake as much as possible. It was raining outside, although not very hard, as it was so silent, and I frequently found myself moving my feet out of the way to see the dark space past my wide open door. Then, at that moment, I could hear someone say something inches from my right shoulder. Tell us, it said in a faint whisper. I suddenly whipped my head around to face the voice, but only my blue cat-shaped pillow was staring back at me. I know now that this was the thing that sent me down this surreal hell. Almost immediately after that happened, something ran across my room and leaned in close to my head on my left side. I could feel the air move towards me as the shadow moved so fast, but once again, nothing was there when I looked. Don't get too loud now, a high-pitched voice said to me in a cocky tone. It felt like I couldn't help but scream then, but I didn't want to know what would happen if I had disobeyed whatever this thing was. You will tell us, said another, much deeper voice said from afar. You will tell us, and you will not lie. Yes? I reasoned that I must have simply just gone insane instead of whatever the alternative was, but I nodded out of sheer panic. Do you love your mother? The high-pitched voice asked. I clenched my fists. Yes, of course I do. The room had gotten colder. I quickly realized that this was because these things that were in my room with me were starting to move around. My laptop screen flickered on and off briefly. Then, the light above me did the same. I swear that every time the dark void came back, there were dozens of silhouettes looking towards me. I ran out of that room as fast as I could. The light finally disappeared just as I made it to the living room. The TV was still on, paused on some rom-com on Netflix my roommate was watching. I could once again feel them crowd around the border of the bluish light that shone out from behind me. To my horror, I looked down at my own shadow and saw what looked to be a pair of circles reflecting the blue light of the TV. My hand moved faster than I ever thought it could before, pulled out my phone, and turned on the flashlight to block my shadow. I knew now that light was the only thing stopping them now, but barely made this realization before hearing more voices. Liar, 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 liar. Many voices said around me, quietly but with distinct malice, although I could still see a very loud and deep voice say, 4. They were right. I had lied. My mother left my dad for a younger man. My dad still haven't recovered emotionally yet. She keeps calling me, but I know my frustration will burn her. The voices quieted down swiftly before a very high-pitched one chimed in. What was the best day of your life? It said. I thought for a very long time. Last month, when Dad and I went out to eat, for the first time in what feels like forever. Nothing changed, except the continued thump of my heartbeat. 3, said the louder voice once again. Only this time with a slight scoff at the end. I gasped as the TV briefly flickered behind me. Why did your last partner break up with you? Because I told him he couldn't come with me to college, I said, trembling. It was like a stampede as they all moved around me, trying to encircle me. My TV was flickering fast, leaving the vast expanse of the living room to swallow me. My phone's flashlight was flickering too, but luckily I ran far away enough to stop it from shutting down as my TV did. I ran to my kitchen and clung to my phone. Why? How was that a lie? Was that not the reason he broke up with me? How would I know if he didn't say? A chair in front of me tipped over. at the hands of the furious entities gnawing at my mind.
Two,
said the loud voice, echoing around the room.
When was the last time that you cried?
Said a slow, guttural voice amid the chaos. Ironically, I was about to cry as well at that moment. When I realized that I could not love myself, I said, forcing the air out. At that moment, it was only void again. It was almost peaceful. One, said the loud voice, although not as loud this time, and seemingly in great pain. What is the name of the new man your mother has started a new relationship with? Said the faint, whispery voice from my bedroom, from what felt like ages ago. David, I said. I was surprised that it took me some time to remember. I must have blocked it out. I sat there on the kitchen floor for about 5 minutes before I realized they were all gone. I slowly got up and carefully stepped around my house. My TV was on again. My bedroom light was on again. It all seemed like it had returned to normal. My roommates came back to our place a few hours later. I didn't tell them exactly what happened, but I did tell them that I felt like I was sick or something. And as she did point out, I hadn't really drunk real water for a few days. But I still didn't get any sleep that night. I had to keep all the lights on and think about it, whatever it had been. A few minutes ago, I called my mom. It felt great. She sounded a lot more excited to hear me than I thought she would be. She told me a lot about what she had gotten up to. All the while, I told her I loved her whenever I got the chance, and whenever I did, she would always just pause for it just a bit. She told me about her new place, what the weather has been like where she's at now, a nice trip she went on with Daryl. Not David, Daryl. After that, I told my mom I loved her again, and to not worry about me. I tried to call my dad after, but I don't know if my phone would be able to do that. It's been flickering too much for me to even type for much longer. I hear laughing. The lamppost above me just went out. Love you, Mom.